Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Black Line Brief. I'm your host, Matthew McKim. And yeah, we'll go over a couple of housekeeping things. I did a live earlier today, and it was going to be good. And it was going really good. And there was quite a few people there. And then when I was going to share my tab and play the video for you guys, the audio stopped working. And then I looked up and it was like the feed had something happened to the feed. And I didn't have my other computer, which I usually use to monitor my live stream. And then it just kind of went downhill from there. I tried to finish strong and like do everything else like I was planned, but man, it was a hiccup. And then I tried to edit it afterwards and fix it and put it back up. And then it just, it wasn't good. So my apologies. Thank you for those of you that were there and for supporting me. And just for anyone, welcome back. Hopefully more people will start to show up as I move along. If you're new here, please like and subscribe, hit the notifications button so you can know when I'm doing new videos. And like I said, everyone, welcome back if you are returning. Well, I don't know if you know what's been going on today. If any of you have watched Candace Owens live from today, Barron's live from today, but the saga continues, and the issues that we have with Erica Kirk just keep growing, and it's it's getting worse every day. Yep. And so we're gonna look at a couple videos of her, some old ones that just came out, and a interview of her on Fox. And yeah, I'm going to give you guys my 2 cents. We're going to look at the employee video that just came out, which was devastating. And I have that by itself, so we can look at that without any interruptions, except for my commentary, of course. Let me look and see who's here so far. Cool. Thank you. I was saying, I don't know how much you heard, but thank you for being there, who was ever there for my live earlier today. But with the technical issues, it was hard to recover that. Yeah, and I tried to fix it in post, and it just didn't work great. But all right, let's get into it, okay? Great to see you, Donna. And hopefully more people start to show up as it gets along. We're going to start here. All right, and let me get there. All right, ready?
Great to have you on the show. I mean, the governor spoke so proudly of what's happening in Montana and these, Club America chapters. This is a big deal. I mean, it is the fifth state now after Texas and Florida and Oklahoma and Tennessee to do this. And it is significant to have this kind of presence in Montana and these other states. What did you think of today's gathering?
It is, and it's very special because Governor Gianforte and his amazing wife, Susan, have been friends with Charlie since he was 18. So he's been with Charlie for this mission for a very long time. And he and Charlie both recognize that the best way to get civics back into the school system is through Club America. And that's the solution that he understands. That's a solution that Montana is solving, and we're so honored and proud to be working alongside him. And also we will be adding Nebraska.
It's so interesting. It's like they can't make up their mind what kind of nonprofit they are. I mean, here she's talking about getting kids engaged in, civic responsibilities or duties, and the process of the political aspects of what TPUSA is involved in, or what supposed to be involved in their mission statement. And in other places, it's like they're trying to be a church, like I had mentioned in previous videos. And yeah, it's just, they're playing they have so many cards on the table. It's crazy. They can't make up their mind what they are. If they're, a political organization, nonprofit, are they a church? Is their goal to make heaven crowded? Like, what are you guys doing? Is insane.
And Indiana in the coming weeks to that list. So we have, I think, 43 left to go for our states to partner with.
One at a time. It's all you need is one at a time. You talk about when Charlie was 18. I want to play some sound. This is from Fox and Friends. This is back last summer in July when Charlie was talking about the start of TPUSA and also how key the youth vote was. He said the following here. Watch.
Why did you call it Turning Point?
You know, at the time, I felt as if we were kind of in a generational turning point. That was right before the re-election of Barack Obama. And I had just graduated high school. I kind of saw the liberal influences in curriculum. I grew up in the northwest suburbs of Chicago in Wheeling High School. And there I was, a young high school graduate with no money, no connections, and no idea what I was doing. I said, hey, I think we could do a better job of reaching young people. Yeah. The tables have completely flipped over the last decade.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, did you hear his explanation as like what TPUSA was supposed to be or what it was in the beginning and what it's clearly turned into now, and even what it turned into, you know, while he was still alive in the last, you know, couple years, and definitely in the last year, it turned into much more of what it looks like today. I mean, it's gone way worse, obviously, since Erika has taken over, but, you know, going over how he initially created it to be this political movement to help kids and young people get involved in the system, become educated in the system, you know, Tea Party economics. And it's just a far cry from that today. And that's by no mistake. And that all happened in 2018 when Erica Kirk came into the picture. And I was thinking about this when I was talking about this with my wife, that's exactly when Candace left. Right. And so Candace, before Erika came into the picture, and she brought everyone with her, whether that be Andrew Colvett, like all of them, right? Charlie had Candace as that, you know, person around him to bounce things off of. And she comes across to me as a person of high integrity, you know, turning down money, not being bought out. And it was very concerning when she told everyone today, when he lied to her, that after she left, and I want to look into like why she actually ended up leaving, like the full story. And I'm wondering if that wasn't somehow, you know, manufactured to get her out, to get Charlie isolated from Candace. Because there's no way that I think Erika could have, I think, put this spell on Charlie if Candace was as close to him as they were for the previous however many years, like working inside the same building around each other all the time. Candace would have been able to see more and like would have been blowing the whistle on it, I think, right away. But her leaving, right, getting engaged, so super busy, Candace, then Erica Kirk coming into the picture in 2018 is when that incident happened where Charlie was going to, I think, Miami or somewhere in Florida to speak to a donor, a potential donor, about money, someone that I feel was probably set up by Andrew Colvett, Erica Kirk herself. Well, he does that. And then Candace, of course, finds out about it, questions him about it, and he lies directly to her face. And so that was pretty telling to me. For one, he lied to Candace. Two, the fact that, and because he knows Candace's moral and ethical integrity, whatever he was lying to her about had to be bad enough for him to lie to her. And it was about money. It was about a potential donor. And it was most likely set up by Andrew and or Erika, lying directly to her face, and Candace saying, well, that's funny. I know that you did the meeting with him yesterday, and that his face turned like he went down a roller coaster and then tried to stop the elevator to try to explain. But, you know, he had already lied. This made me think that the Charlie Kirk that we all imagine and think of wasn't what he was now that Erika's in the picture. He was willing to lie to Candace and still do the thing that was clearly against his normal compass, and definitely against Candace's, because he knew that he couldn't tell her the truth. He lied to her, and he was willing to do that. And so today, my my mindset on Charlie shifted a little bit, that if he's willing to lie to Candace about whatever this really was, the influence that Erika and all those, talking heads that were around Charlie, and now that Candace is out of the picture back in 2018, I think that's when the manipulation and the influence, the negative influence from Andrew and Erika and everyone really took on a whole new level. And if he was willing to do that, I mean, what else did he know about? I mean, did he know about all of the financial improprieties? And we'll get into it in a little bit more detail as we go along. But it definitely shifted what I'm thinking, because everyone wants to know, how much did Charlie know? How much did Charlie know? I'm beginning to think he knew something.
And it goes to show that this patriotic revival is being led by the youngest Americans. That should give everyone a lot of hope.
I find it interesting, Erica, because he used the phrase patriotic revival, and you can tell that that patriotic revival is underway. I mean, we have Jack Posobiec and Andrew Covett on our show all the time talking about this, and the numbers keep.
Yeah, and both of those guys are completely, bought and paid for by Israel and by the Fed slop narrative. They keep spouting it off every chance they get, in my opinion. Those two, they have no credibility at all.
Growing, and every week you think, oh, it's going to slow down. The momentum is going to slow down. It just doesn't happen. The momentum is building.
Yes, it is. And God is so good. And it's really powerful because Charlie knew that you don't just talk about the youth, you talk to the youth. And he has put us in a position where this is such an authentic and true movement. I mean, case in point, you have high schoolers, some of them that are walking out for those Ice Out walks. Our students, instead of walking out, they're holding hands in a circle around the American flag praying. There is a huge...
You guys, another thing, TPUSA as an organization, the way it is built is so powerful because the majority of people don't vote in elections. Okay. The majority of adults, 18 and older, and young people typically don't really get engaged. And the Democrats have been able to tap into that through the universities and the education system, motivating young liberals to go and vote. I think, in my opinion, that's one of the reasons why the Tea Party movement kind of shifted and turned into TPUSA to tap into that. And it started in college, right? So like they're gauging 18 and older, but now that they're going into high schools, can you imagine the type of the power and influence that could have generationally down the line, that if they can start getting ahead of everyone else and getting to these kids at the age of 14, 4 years of indoctrination, if they are allowed to open these chapters in high schools, and they're almost like making it mandatory in Texas. It's insane that the moment those kids turn 18, and if they are motivated enough to vote, how that will swing all future elections in the Republicans' direction, which I'm all for, having Republicans, be in Congress and Senate and in the White House. However, not if it's specific Republican candidates that aren't really for the people, but that lie to us, and then they get in there. And I was just thinking that it's just insane that TPUSA is trying to go younger, to have more influence on the direction of this country. And that's why, TPUSA is a juggernaut, and we all need to be paying attention to why they're doing all this, because it's going to impact us for generations to come.
Huge juxtaposition between what we are providing for our students rather than the other side. And so it's really powerful. And Charlie, before he was murdered, he told the team, Andrew Cipher was in that meeting, our chief field officer.
Why is she smiling when she just mentioned about him being murdered? What?
Andrew Cipher was in that
Wait, let me
meeting,
back that
our
up.
chief field officer, providing for our students rather than the other side. And so it's really powerful. And Charlie, before he was murdered, he told the team, Andrew Cipher was in that meeting, our chief field officer. He said, I want a high school chapter on 35,000 high school campuses. And Andrew's like, I don't think there's that many high schools in the country. So they looked it up. There's 27,000. So Charlie was like, okay, let's do 25,000 high school chapters. I'll give you a little bit of a delta there, but he was intentional. He knew that Club America was the future. And anyone who's watching this right now, whether you are a parent, a student, I just want to encourage you to get involved. I want you guys to be able to know that there is a place for you, and it's with Club America, and that's where my heart is at. My children are Gen Alpha. That's going to be the incoming freshman class. I also want to be able to pour into these students for them to know that in this upcoming election for midterms, it is your first time to vote, and that is very.
It's crazy, like that is the goal, to get to reach them and get to them and brainwash them and indoctrinate them younger. And here, I mean, it seems all about the political side of TPUSA, but go look at some of the other events and speaking engagements like the Make Heaven Crowded events. And it's like, we're a church, we're a nonprofit, we're a church, we're about political, we want Heaven Crowded. It's like, what are we doing? They're trying to do too much, in my opinion. Yeah.
Very powerful. And I want these students to understand that your voice is in that ballot box. It is not with a weapon, and it's not to murder people. You need to get out there and vote and be able to understand what you're voting for, who you're voting for, and why. And that is why Club America is so important. And it's on our college campuses too, but Club America especially, because I know, Trace, you understand this too. You will never forget the first time that you ever voted. Never. And there's something that's really special about that.
Okay, honestly, I don't remember the first time I voted. So I don't know. That's just me, though. I don't.
And so even if I have to drive a bus of high school students to the voting polls, we'll do it. But it's so, so important. And I'm just honored and blessed that Charlie entrusted not just to me, but our whole entire Turning Point USA team to carry this mission forward, because God knows this country needs it. And the only way to heal and move forward, aside from having obviously the Lord involved, is for Club America and our college chapters all across the country.
You guys, that's the only way, she said, for the country to move forward, is to have a Club America chapter in every high school.
I find it interesting, Erica, when you talk about at the very beginning of your statement there, you were talking about this authentic movement. How is it that you go into young people and you convey to them the authenticity of what is happening in this country? What do you say to them?
She can't do what Charlie did. She definitely doesn't have the gift that Charlie had. There's no way that, they're going to have the kind of impact that Charlie had. Her going into there trying to tell these kids what they need to do is insane. I don't think anyone's going to be following her. Not anyone that has a brain.
You can't explain authenticity. You either feel it or you don't. Charlie was very good about that. He never had to over-explain who he was. He was phenomenal on his daily show. He was just an amazing man. Everyone knew that. Everyone could see it. And thank gosh we have all of his videos that we can see for years to come. But the young students see authenticity and they can immediately sniff it out. They can also see if there's desperation in the room. So thank goodness that our movement.
I mean, we could take a poll. How desperate do you think TPUSA and Erica Kirk and Andrew Colvin and all them are right now? I would say they seem really desperate. And yeah, everyone can sniff out authenticity and fakeness. And our nose is pointing directly at you guys.
Movement has always carried forth the authentic pillars of what Charlie established this on. And we're going to honor that and continue it forward.
I wonder, when you talk about, the trial of Tyler Robinson, and you have been very forthright saying, listen, I think we need cameras in court. And the reason you say we need cameras in court is not because you want this to be, some kind of, you want this to be on the record. You want everything to be on the record. You want transparency, and you want to make sure there is.
This guy is so full of crap, and so is she. They don't want transparency. They don't want everything on the record. That's not why they're pushing for there to be cameras in the courtroom. Okay. They want as many people to see the Fed slop narrative on full display. Okay. And they want to tarnish this poor kid's future, even if he ever does get out or gets off, which I hope they do a good job defending him. But she doesn't want transparency. Every time we ask questions, Candace asks them to respond to her to explain the alibi, or why did she lie about the tarmac, staying there, waiting for Andrew Colvett instead of going to see Charlie. All the questions that we have, like we're all asking, and Candace is asking for answers and transparency. And every time they're not willing. They're not willing at all. And she has no problem getting up here every day and lying, just lying.
Nobody trying to twist this in any kind of outlying organization, trying to twist this into something it's not. Is that a fair assessment of why you want this thing out there and transparent?
Absolutely. I want there to be no hesitation in understanding of what happened to my husband that day.
What happened to your husband that day? You know what happened to your husband that day? You guys, do you know what happened? I mean, I know we think we know what happened, and it's sure not what she's saying happened. So she doesn't really want there to be no hesitation in knowing what really happened to her husband that day. She wants rush, right? She put in that affidavit to the court to a speedy trial. She wants this over and done with. She wants to wipe her hands and move on with her life. She wants this behind her in the rearview mirror. That's what she wants. And she doesn't want us asking questions and actually looking into who killed Charlie. Too bad. We're going to find out. Candace went off today.
I want there to always be full transparency, because what I don't want to have happen is for there not to be. And then I am relying then on social media and other news outlets.
That's her plug to be slandering Candace, social media, and anyone else, because the majority of us, like no one. So, I mean, mainstream news continues to pull at the most epic low ever. We don't trust it, either side. Rarely ever does either side's mainstream news channel actually provide meaningful information that's honest and not biased. So she knows that the majority of us get our information online, and she knows what an impact Candace has. And she's trying to say that she wants this transparency so that people don't have to go on social media because of how corrupt, and that's where all the lies are happening. No, that's honestly where the real investigation. We're doing your job. We're doing what you should be doing for your husband, and you're not doing it. And that is just one of many things that make you look so suspicious and guilty.
To explain the narrative rather than saying, hey, this is what happened. This is what here's all of the, it's just as hard, all of the facts.
You guys, she slipped up right there. What that looks like, right? Candace said it too. That does not look like this is hard. That's not a sentence. The sentence that you started and then you fumbled and then you end up finishing is not really a sentence at all that would be hard to say. It's really not. But it is hard to remember things that you just were told that are scripted for you to respond, and you got slipped up. And that's what happened. Your choreographed, written responses, your talking points, we get glimpses of this other version of Erika. I mean, we all see the real Erika for who she is, but the version that she presents to us, that version cracks time and time again. And we get this glimpse like, yeah, you are fake, you are acting, you are reading, you are remembering certain phrases, and it's obvious. It's obvious, Erika. You're not fooling anyone.
On the table for you guys to see, and you guys can see on full display what happened to my husband, and there is no ifs, ands, or buts or confusion as to who did it and why.
Yeah, yes, there is.
Yeah, I mean,
like that, who did it and why they did it is, okay, so it's not really, for most of us, there's no confusion. We really do think that all of TPUSA, the people that are still around, and the place over there that's dealing with a lot of stuff near, oh man, YouTube has cracked down so much on censorship on what you can and can't say. And yeah, somebody left a comment. I need to create like, code words. I just don't know how to explain to you what those words are. Coach Colin says Philadelphia when he's talking about a particular place over there, you know, the place where Jesus was born, that area. And we know that they seem to be the most guilty, or I mean, to me, they're at the top of the list of suspects. Philadelphia, 100%. And then people within government, and then people inside TPUSA. That's who I think is responsible.
And I want to end on that. I want to talk about something uplifting, that the halftime, the alternative.
All right, that's enough
show.
of that. Let's move on to the next one. All right, we're going to go straight to here. And we're going to listen to, yeah, you guys can see it. Awesome. We're going to listen to Aubrey Lee in her own words. Well, actually, you know what? I don't know. Did anyone see Candace's episode for today? And has anyone seen Barron's? Did any of you guys see either of those? Can you just put it in the chat if you did or you didn't? Thumbs up if you did, thumbs down if you didn't see Candace's and or Barron's. Yes, everyone saw it. Okay. Okay, cool. So I don't need to play the part where she reads directly to Erika. You guys saw all that. And Barron's, outstanding. We'll skip that. We're going to go to Aubrey Lee. I don't know how to say her last name. But yeah, that's what we'll do. Okay, let me make it big.
And I was a part of the recent kind of mass termination group at Turning Point, and was let go about 3 weeks ago. And at the time of my release, I was working for the ATK company, which is spokesman and.
All right, so the ATK company, like you guys saw on Barron's show tonight, and so some of you that maybe didn't see it, the ATK company is Andrew Colvett's own company, his media company. And this young lady, she's known Erica Kirk since 2013 through the pageant, arena. Andrew Colvett, she was hired in 2021 and then obviously was just let go. I don't know, you guys, was she hired, in my opinion, these are questions I want answered. When she was hired in 2021, was she hired by Charlie or Andrew Colvett? Was she hired as a contractor, or was she hired as an employee and then became a contractor? And going back to me, it seems more that likely now, after finding out what we found out about Candace and Charlie lying to Candace, that he was okay to lie. I mean, he was willing to lie to Candace, and it had to do with money, and it had to deal with Erika being the one that set that up and Andrew Colvett. And to me, I'm starting to question that the version of Charlie that I thought who he was in some way, even if it's in the slightest, because I never thought he would have lied to Candace like that. I never thought that he would lie to Candace about something that Erika and Andrew set up for him to go speak to this potential donor, knowing that it's wrong. Obviously, he was convicted inside, or else he wouldn't have lied. If it wasn't an issue, at all, he wouldn't have lied to Candace at all, but he did. So that leads me to believe that he was willing to do things that weren't moral or ethical, even if this is a one-off. But I don't think it was, because then Candace is more out of the picture as time goes on, and Andrew and Erika begin to have more influence, and they all surround Charlie, Tyler Boyer, all of them. That means he got less and less of that guidance from Candace and more from these people. And yeah, to me, that it makes me believe that he did know more about the financial improprieties within Turning Point, because it seems like a lot of it she's speaking about as if he knew that it either was set up that way, or at least when it changed and became that way, Charlie knew something. And to me, that's kind of a bummer.
Andrew Colvet's private business that contracts out with the Turning Point kind of ecosystem. So encompassing of Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action. I was working directly for him. Prior to that, I did work for Turning Point USA. So I've been with the organization since 2021. So my boss, Andrew Colvet, and I had a very close working relationship.
She says things that are very confusing. She identifies herself as a contractor, but then uses language that she's an employee. She says that Charlie Kirk was her CEO, but was working directly for and under Andrew. And I think this just goes to show how muddy everything is inside TPUSA and how it's set up and how this like shell game actually is. It really is a shell game, in my opinion.
I talked with him on a weekly, if not daily basis. My tasks were assigned by him to me. Working directly for him was a challenge and very intimidating because,
I bet.
You know, he was Charlie's right-hand guy, always in Charlie's ear.
Okay, Charlie's right-hand guy, always in Charlie's ear, but didn't go with him to an event that he normally always goes to. Head PR guy didn't go to UVU with him that day. Why?
Constantly. And so it was very important to me to be an impressive and loyal employee to Andrew, to which I believe I certainly was. I did so many things for that company. I worked many, many hours outside of my general kind of understanding of
which a contractor would never do. Okay, they're under contract and everything is written up and they don't do overtime or anything like that. So this is what's making me question, like at one point, was she a traditional like W-2 employee and then turned into a contractor? What was it? Because she's talking about her experience as if she was an employee, but no, she self-identified as a contractor. She just said she worked directly for Andrew.
What this job entailed. And I had no problem with it because I wanted to work hard for both Andrew and Charlie, for my coworkers, and for the Lord. And that was the expectation that Charlie had for us as well, was to work very hard. I really believed in the mission of Turning Point and what we were doing. So taking you back all the way to 2021 when I first started working at Turning Point, let's be honest. Being a conservative was not very cool or trendy back then. I think we really owe it to a lot of the work that Charlie put in.
100%. This was the area where the Republican Party just had no influence. And Charlie, when he started his SOS organization, was trying to do that. And then that's when like Bill McGovern came in and brought Charlie and gave him the money and started TPUSA to influence the youth. And so it's just interesting that she was just talking about how like she also wanted to work for, you know, for God. I mean, it's a political organization or it's a Christian one. Like which one? Is it TPUSA Faith or is it TPUSA or Turning Point Action? Like it's just, to me, this whole thing, the more we find out, is extremely suspicious and it looks like a scam and they're all using it to make themselves extremely wealthy.
And us at Turning Point put in, it kind of made conservatism more cool and trendy. But back then, it wasn't very cool. And so it was such a beautiful thing to be kind of plopped into this place of employment where everybody was so like-minded. It was just such a fun place to work. I had nothing but wonderful experiences right from the start. But then in, I'd say around 2022 or 2023, things kind of started to change. The energy kind of had shifted within the organization as a whole. And I believe that stemmed from Charlie sort of taking a step back and kind of more taking that true CEO leadership role. And Charlie decided to entrust some of these people that had been working at Turning Point and some outside hires to kind of take more of a leadership position within the organization. And
a lot of those people were all people that Erika knew before meeting Charlie. And it's these people in that sphere of influence that started taking on more responsibility. Charlie was delegating and letting go of a lot of responsibility. And this whole money moving thing went from not at all to completely out of control.
I don't blame Charlie for that. I kind of understood where things were going. I wasn't a big fan of the energy and kind of environment shift, but I understood.
Yeah, and in that letter, that email that he sent out, the fourth bullet point. So yes, a Doge style effort, but the last one was to reshape company culture inside TPUSA. And I've never heard anyone talk about that yet. I feel like I'm the only one that really have seen that as very telling in and of itself, that if there was no issue in the culture, if there was nothing that needed to be changed at all, he would never have put that in that email. But he did, and he ended with it. It was very important. Something was going on inside the culture of TPUSA that Charlie knew, and he wanted it changed.
Why things like this needed to happen. These people that Charlie put into leadership positions, I didn't always agree with, but I was certainly in no place to judge the discretion of my CEO. I trusted that he put the right people in charge, but over time, I pretty quickly learned that some of these people in leadership positions were not people that I felt were either prepared or qualified to be or deserving to be in that role.
And this is what I've said about it. I've said this in previous videos. The people that were working at TPUSA and with Charlie and for Charlie, they were there for him. Erica Kirk can say this BS all she wants, that Charlie created and nurtured a vision-led organization, one that can withstand the test of his absence, whether him moving on or he retires at old age or he dies. There's no way, even if Charlie did try to do that, the nature of Charlie, how electric he was, how everyone was, just attracted to his energy, his intelligence, the way he carried himself, how he spoke. There's no way he could have avoided that. And I said it, all the people that they're firing are the ones that are the loyal, dedicated, honest, ones with integrity that they had to get rid of. They had to get rid of them. They had to, in order to continue doing what they're doing now and what they had planned and probably were doing before, and why Charlie wrote that email. They had to get rid of all the good individual employees that were there for Charlie and had the same ethics and morals and principles as Charlie. And they had to get rid of them.
Fast forwarding a few years from that time I just spoke about in 2022, 2023, all the way up until September 10th, 2025. Obviously, it was an extremely traumatizing day for everyone. I think pretty much everyone in the world with any amount of sanity was slightly traumatized by what they saw. It was an extremely traumatizing day for me. And I worked nonstop. My phone received hundreds of phone calls on September 10th, thousands of text messages, and multiple times I kind of got reprimanded for not being responsive enough to people, but I literally just could not keep up with everything that was happening between my email and my.
That's so insane. She said she actually got reprimanded either that day or in the days that followed because she wasn't responding quick enough to text messages, emails, or phone calls. Her role model, her mentor, her boss had just been publicly assassinated. Okay. And the people running the show, whether Erika had entered the scene or not, all of those other individuals like Tyler Boyer and Andrew Colvett, all of them started reprimanding the good employees right after this traumatic thing just happened. And yet they wanted to say like, oh, but we're a family. Oh, but we're a family. No, and you don't fire, the ones that were there before and were there for Charlie and then pulled off AmFest, pulled off the memorial, and then you promise them your family, I love you, your job's secure, and then you fire them.
Personal phone and my work phone, it was just non-stop. And I've seen a video of a coworker of mine who was also released from Turning Point. She spoke about.
So in the beginning, when this came out, I didn't know if she was that employee. So she's talking about that one video that we all saw where the young lady started recording, but we can't see anyone's faces, of her being fired. So I thought it was her, but she just obviously tells us that no, it's not her. It was another employee.
20-hour days. Yeah, absolutely. Those were very, very real, especially for those first 2 months post Charlie's assassination. In December, we
Guys, can you imagine how bad things have to have been for her to be willing to do this video? Like, she's seen all of the backlash for individuals that have come out and spoken against TPUSA. And she is willing to do that and risk whatever could be on the line to say everything she said in this video. You're not going to do that unless things are really that bad as she says they are inside TPUSA. So I think what she's saying not only is true, but I think it's way worse than even just the little bit she shares.
obviously had America Fest here in Phoenix, Arizona, and that was nonstop work too. And so really it's just been go, go, go for almost the past 6 months with like no extra compensation, no breaks, no real, hey, let's grieve as a family, you know, let's take some time and we'll pick back up where we left off. And just
You guys, at least we know we're not crazy. Finally, someone from within TPUSA, who now is obviously not, she was fired, is saying everything we're all thinking. We're not crazy, and a good majority of the people inside of there that think and feel the same way as we do and that question the FedSlop official narrative, they're in there, but they're all getting fired because of that. Because of that, they're getting fired.
just a little while. And I wasn't necessarily expecting that. Charlie was someone who always expected us to push through and to continue to work. However, I think that these are extremely unprecedented circumstances in which we were all under. And so that was a huge turnoff for me at the organization, was just how everything has been handled since 9/10. During the memorial, for example, I literally did not sleep for over 48 hours. Despite all of that,
Can you guys imagine that? She didn't sleep for literally 48 hours and no one, that's like a pretty bad work environment. And this is supposed to be a Christian nonprofit organization. And it's supposed to be, we're a family here. Erica Kirk had no problem manipulating and taking advantage of how these ethical, moral, honest employees felt about the cause and about Charlie Kirk. And they capitalized on that and they took advantage of these employees. That to me shows the character of Erica Kirk and Andrew Colvett and all of them. And they all profited. And you just heard her. They didn't get any extra compensation for everything they did.
I want to go ahead and fast forward to my termination, which took place about 3 weeks ago. And I was brought into an office to have a discussion just generally about my employment. It was myself, Andrew Colvett, and Marina Muniz, who is the CMO.
And I looked up Maria Menez. She used to work at Fox, like Blake Neff, and I think even Andrew Colvett did as well. I have to go back and fact check that. But so she worked at Fox for a while. And, you know, why I had to like Google and like really look into who she is. We haven't seen any like photos or videos of her. She is on TPUSA's website. You can go and look at it. But other than that, like we haven't seen who this lady is at all. And she's been mentioned now a couple times and not in a good way. And why would the CMO of actual TPUSA be firing a contractor that was hired and works directly for Andrew? I think it's because it's convoluted. I think it's because it's muddy and they intentionally wanted it that way and are running it that way. And it's hard for me to believe that it wasn't like that before the 10th. It's not like they just started doing all these things on the 10th. So to me, and there's a clip we're going to show later about, in Charlie's own words, I'm beginning to suspect that Charlie knew about at least some of how the company was being ran, whether he knew to what extent, whether it was when he found out that he wanted and he did that email. I don't know yet. I hope we really get to find out more about how much Charlie knew, didn't know, when he knew it. And is that what prompted, that email? Or did he know and he was okay with some of this? Because the video I'm going to show later about some of the things he said, it's like the influence that Erica Kirk and Andrew and all these people had over him started to change Charlie in some ways.
Of Turning Point USA, who I used to work for when I was just full-time with Turning Point.
There you go. Okay, that answered my question. She used to work full-time for Turning Point USA as an employee, but then at some point it transitioned and she became a contractor for Andrew Colvett and his company.
Joining the ATK company, they pulled me into a room and they sat me down and told me that there were 2 instances they wanted to talk to me about, one of which is pretty irrelevant to this timeline. So I'm just going to talk about the one, which was an Uber ride that took place allegedly in the months of either October or November of 2025. And what was told to me was that a Turning Point executive got into an Uber one day and they randomly just kind of started talking about Turning Point. And the executive asked the driver, what do you think about Turning Point? And the driver proceeded to tell the Turning Point executive, well, it's just really sad. I've heard the organization.
And, I was thinking about this, you guys. This must be, like some Uber drivers, when they find an area, a zone in which they do really well, and they have consistent rides, they become a consistent driver in that area. And so it seems like this driver was doing that and was working in a specific area, and TPUSA was within that area and was pretty often transporting people from TPUSA. And the person asking this driver is Maria.
Organization's really going downhill. There's not really a direction and nobody likes Erica. And the Turning Point executive proceeded to ask this Uber driver, well, who told you that? And the Uber driver told the Turning Point executive that his daughter was good friends with a girl that worked at Turning Point way back when in high school. They had spoken about Turning Point since Charlie's assassination, and that, this was told to him by his daughter. And the Turning Point executive, of course, asked, well, what's the employee's name? And the Uber driver allegedly said, Aubrey who? Aubrey Leach. And the story was presented to me as one of the reasons for my termination. And I was just a little taken aback because, number one, I'm not really friends with anybody from high school. And a lot of that has to do with my political beliefs. I've been a conservative since I was pretty much.
Yeah, because most young kids are more liberal. And so that makes sense.
Junior in high school. And so I don't know who I would have told this story to. And it also doesn't even align with my true thoughts of Erica at the time. I've actually known Erica since 2013. We were doing pageants around the same.
I hope this young lady creates a channel or does more content on who Erica Kirk was before she met Charlie. I mean, I want to know. And here's the other thing I'll say. I don't know about you guys. The more that comes out about Erica and the more suspicious she is, and this whole thing about Charlie and him lying to Candace, it is making me concerned that, just think about the kids, right? That picture Erica Kirk uses kids that are clearly not her kids as an alibi. How come we don't see any photos of her pregnant? I don't know yet, but why can't Candace just confirm? She knows that is a conspiracy out there, that the kids weren't theirs, that Charlie knew. Why can't she just tell us, just to put it to bed? She doesn't have to go into detail about the kids at all, but just yeah, no, for sure. I saw her pregnant. Those are Charlie's kids. You guys, that's not, they weren't from the Romanian orphanage or, but I do want to know, because it is suspicious that the things that are in connection with her kids and that picture, that means Charlie would have had to have been in on it. if those kids are not theirs, and yeah, I mean, that means I just want to know. I want to know how much Charlie did know about all of this stuff, what part he had in it. I don't want it to be true. I don't want it. I don't want any of that to be true. I'm hoping 100% that at some point, Candace or even Charlie's parents. Oh, that's interesting. That means his parents would also have to have been in on it if they weren't his kids and weren't her kids. And they could easily, and we haven't heard from his sister, and we haven't heard from Erica's sister. There's so many people that are connected to Charlie and Erica's families and them themselves that they could like literally put a lot of concern and conspiracies to bed. They could put it to bed just by giving us a couple answers on a few things. And honestly, I really want to know, and I don't know why Candace hasn't said anything on that at all.
Time as one another. She was in the Miss USA organization and I was in the Miss United States organization, and we happened to cross paths at an event. So I've known Erica for quite some time, and my thoughts of her and nobody liking her do not align whatsoever with that timeline of October or November. So that was one of Turning Point's reasons for letting me go. So unlike my peers, I actually was given reason. However, there's another thing I kind of want to dive into. To protect myself, I am going to preface with Turning Point has not insinuated this. They never told me anything like this. However, I just have a gut feeling that I was terminated from Turning Point because I am questioning the narrative of what happened to my role model.
100%. And they want everyone to ignore our gut. When we look at Erica, when we watch the things that she says and the things that she does since the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and Andrew Colvett and all of those people, Rob McCoy, Mikey McCoy, they want us to ignore our gut and our brain and our logic. But even this young lady, she's like, there's just something that makes me feel the real reason why me and my fellow employees that have been fired haven't really been for any reason except that we're the ones that are honestly loyal, ethical, moral, honest, but that we're questioning the official narrative, that they're not buying it. And their TPUSA and Erica are sniffing those employees out and cutting them out, like trimming the fat. They're trimming the fat. And I mean, why would you do that if you're not guilty of anything? Why would you do that? Well, you wouldn't. If you had nothing to hide and you had nothing to do with it, you wouldn't do that at all. You wouldn't do anything that they've done since September 10th. And that's why we're all very suspicious of all of them and why they all look guilty, hands down.
And CEO Charlie Kirk on the day of his assassination. What is being told to us in the mainstream media just really doesn't add up to me.
Nope.
And I'm really hopeful that one day it will. But as it stands right now, it just doesn't. And so I've been here in the background talking with people, expressing how I truly feel, because as an American citizen, I have the right to my freedom of speech and my freedom of thought.
And that's what Charlie stood for. And that was her downfall, right? Was discussing this and expressing her views. Insane.
And I have a lot of concerns and
Yep.
a lot of questions about what took place that day and the events leading up to that day. It is from my own experience that you can't question the narrative and work at Turning Point. That is how I feel. That is how other people I've talked to feel. It goes against everything that Charlie ever stood for.
Yep.
Charlie was someone who did question things, who did challenge the narrative. And I know that if anything at all were to have happened to myself or another employee or any other peer within the Turning Point family, that Charlie would be doing the same thing if we were brutally assassinated in the way that he was.
He said the only thing that keeps us free is to keep asking questions. That's what it is. Keep asking questions. Erica Kirk and all them want no more questions.
He would have never lived it down. And that is what I'm standing by as well. I am not going to just idly sit by and hope that the truth comes to light. I'm going to take action. I'm going to ask questions. I'm
Good.
going to talk to other people. And I refuse to apologize for having my own freedom of thought,
Good.
which is something that Charlie ingrained in me and so many other young people. So really the purpose of me coming on here and speaking with you today is to just bring light to the situation of the treatment happening inside the organization. All of these people who have been terminated were the most hardworking, loyal, honest
See?
employees that Turning Point has ever had. And I know that because I've actually been at Turning Point longer than most people. That's public.
Can you imagine what she knows? I mean, I hope Candace and or Baron reach out to her and do a face sit down interview. If I had a bigger channel, which by the way, everyone, please like and subscribe. I really apologize for the technical issues earlier today. I ended up editing it in post and then putting it back up. It didn't do good. And it just wasn't, it didn't, so I unlisted it. I really, as I build this channel, I really don't want to do any content that can hurt the community, can hurt this channel. And so, yeah, please hit the like, please hit the subscribe. But can you imagine what we could find out if Candace or Baron interviewed her? Yeah. She's been there for a long time and she's known Erika for a long time. She could bring a lot of insight into all of this.
Record, you can see it for yourself on these job websites. Turning Point's average length of employment is about 1.5 to 2 years. And so to be there for almost 5 years is actually quite some time. I've seen the media and marketing team, for example, turn over at least twice, consuming of about 40 people.
Okay, that's insane. That seems deliberate. That seems built in, that they don't want people there for a long time. It's less people know. And that if people find out things, they're already gone. They're on to the next batch. That turnover rate is indicative of something not good, in my opinion.
And so I know that these people have been some of the most loyal, hardworking, and honest individuals to ever pass through the organization because I've been there, done that, and seen it all. I'm doing this for them. And I'm doing this for my friends who I consider family who are still there in hopes that they will start to receive better treatment by the leadership there.
Nope.
Because nobody deserves to be let go without cause.
Yeah, well, they're going to keep doing it. And it's sad that even though I know you're saying that and you have such a good heart, they don't care. And they're going to continue doing what they're doing, hands down.
And frankly, it's a loss for Turning Point. We're all going to be better off because of this, because we have removed ourselves from an environment that was no longer serving us. And in my opinion, no longer serving the Lord, which was Charlie's entire intention. The other purpose of this video.
I wouldn't say that. It wasn't his entire intention. It initially was Tea Party economics. And then, it turned into this.
To bring to light the fact that although Turning Point is an organization that is all about freedom of speech and promoting that, from my experience, it is certainly not a place where that is something that is really accepted. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want this to be the ending result for me or for Turning Point. It literally breaks my heart to make this video, but I know that I owe it to Charlie and that this would be the expectation for me. And so that's why I'm doing it. Everything's for Charlie. Overall, it's really disappointing to see the direction in which Turning Point is going. And that is maybe one thing right that they got about this Uber ride is I'm not confident in where it's going as it stands right now. And I'm really disappointed by that because I packed up and moved my entire life back to my hometown solely for the purpose of working for Turning Point.
Dude, that's heartless. Holy smokes. She worked directly for Andrew. Andrew knew that then. Erika had to have known that. This young lady uprooted her whole life and moved, I don't know how far, but far enough to mention it, to work for Turning Point, to do this job, and they didn't give a care at all. That is gnarly. that's heartless. That's evil, man.
That is how much I love this place. I
Yep.
just refuse to stand by, watch my peers be unfairly treated, and watch leadership attempt to take over something that was Charlie through and through, and
Yep.
something that he poured his heart, soul, and mind into building and creating and maintaining. I appreciate everyone who stuck around for the entire.
All right, let's hop over here. I want you guys to hear this, because this is going to bring some insight into, I think, into Charlie a little bit.
Quite a lot of money going from the beginning to where you are now.
Very blessed.
How have you handled your own personal finances?
Very carefully. I mean, I'm a big investor.
And I couldn't find this clip by itself. I didn't know the name of that dude's podcast, and I like typed in different words to try to find it, and I couldn't. So this is Baron Coleman. Obviously, if you don't know him and you're new, go over to his channel and like and subscribe. I'm not going to be playing like the part that is his commentary. I'm just using it for this part of the video of what Charlie's saying.
I have a great team that does it. So, I mean, just to be clear, I didn't take a salary from Turning Point USA the first 5 years. So, and I didn't want it. I mean, all the money went back into the company. And so
and we know that. We can look at the filings, okay, the 990s. We can look at the filings, or sorry, what are the other ones called? Yeah, I think it is the 990s, where we know that he didn't take much of a salary at all for the first 5 years. But then when Erica Kirk showed up, that's when he started taking a salary, and it got bigger every year. I'm just saying the influence that she clearly had. I mean, he also probably changed to when he realized, like, I'm going to get married, I'm going to have a family, I'm going to have kids. And so there had to have been this just natural inclination to want to make more money and provide for his family. However, how they went about doing that, and the influence that Erica and those around Charlie had on him, just seemed to be all about the money. And that's all it was. And this is where I'm starting to think this interview, this podcast, Charlie speaking here, it's making me a little bit more worried as to what version of Charlie was the Charlie at the end when it comes to the financial things within TPUSA. How much did he know?
So all of that to say, now keep in mind.
Hold on, I got to skip to the part where he starts talking again. Right here.
I mean, it's very diversified from private equity, which is great. So once you're able to make enough money, you're able to kind of get access to private equity deals, which is great.
He makes enough money to get access to private equity deals.
All right, I'm gonna have to like pause and play. I'll let Baron say his two piece, and then I will say mine. But I was trying to avoid that, so I didn't, step on his toes, because I love Baron. I'm a member. I'm a card carrying member of the Baron podcast, the Real Baron podcast. But yeah, so it'll be more fluid if I just let it play, and we can hear his commentary as well.
He didn't take a salary for 5 years.
We know that. Yep.
Erica comes along, and all of a sudden he's making enough money to get access to private equity deals.
Right. I'm super boring.
Wait, have you guys heard? Does anyone in the chat watch Sabby Sabs? Does anyone in the chat watch Sabby Sabs? Okay, she did a video regarding Erica Kirk getting her real estate license and immediately getting a job with, I think, the Corcoran real estate firm, and that firm had ties to Einstein, the Einstein guy, Jeffrey Einstein. Okay. Why? Hold on. I'll let this play, and then my thought can come back. I lost it. My bad.
Some stuff too. I'm just like, hey, buy this mutual fund, buy the Dow, buy this index, and just kind of put it aside. I went all in and bought the dip during the tariff stuff and COVID.
Fantastic.
During COVID, I bought triple leverage, triple Q.
No
Of
way.
course I did. Yeah.
What do you mean?
What do you
Of
mean,
course
of
you did.
course?
I mean, like,
What are you doing? You should become a financial advisor, man. You got to start
Why
your own
was that?
fund.
Okay.
I mean, he did care about making money, and that's fine. What I'm trying to do is find out how much Charlie knew about all the things we've found out now about Turning Point, how was being ran and all of these issues with their finances. I'm just trying to do an honest job of figuring out how much he knew.
Why was that so obvious to you to go triple leverage?
It was the easiest bet I've ever made in my life.
Why?
You're in a bet against America. By the way,
I think the argument was that it could get a lot worse
Fine, I
before
mean,
it gets
if-
better. And
if
we
you
didn't
believe,
know
like-
that there was going to be $2 trillion printed into
well,
the
first of all,
economy
that's
that
true.
fast.
And I was against that. But I mean, my whole premise at the time was this is so self-inflicted. We decided to shut down the country. A meteor didn't strike. It's not an alien invasion. We could reverse this immediately. And so I said, and by the way, I'm investing for the next 30 years. You're trying to tell me the Dow is going to remain about 17,000 points for the next 30 years. So basically, I was like, I'm buying triple Q, triple lever. I mean, it was like kind of ballsy when you think about it.
Yeah.
looking back,
I
right?
guess what you don't know is that how far can it go before businesses start flat out
Sure.
going,
So
like,
to be clear,
bankrupt?
I started
Yeah.
I started to buy when I started to see a little bit of signs of hope, right?
Okay.
Like I tried to see the bottom. When if I remember correctly, it went down to like 17, 18,000. Like and then yeah, just kind of plowed a bunch of money into it. By the way, I was like, fine. I wasn't even married at the time. I had no kids.
Do you manage your own money or do you have
No,
people-
I have a great guy that does, but I call
Right
a lot
here.
of shots. Like I make macro decisions, not micro decisions.
Hmm.
That's the way I say. I'm not a good micro investor. Buy this company, not that company. The only thing I'll say is like when Elon's company went on Tesla, I want to buy.
All right. I mean, sorry, I forgot how long he talks before he gets to the Doug DeGroot part, but Barron does a good job pointing that out. That clearly Charlie knew and was okay with some of these ways to work around what's legal and illegal when it came to money. And I think we're getting a clearer picture on he at least knew something and he was okay with it. And he was okay to lie to Candace about it. And he was okay from 2018 when that happened, 2018, 2019 with Candace and when he lied to her. And that's when like the issue with, you know, the legality of what they're doing or it not being ethical or moral. And that's why he had to lie to Candace and why Candace would have an issue with it all the way up until when he was assassinated and all the stuff we're finding out now about their finances. So it really kind of makes me really sad. But he knew something. And that's just, I really hope more than anything, that's kind of as far as it goes on how much he knew and what he was involved in. It will really bum me out if he knew even more, you know? All right, we're going to jump over here. Let me make sure I'm sharing. I don't know if any of you guys seen this video yet. So this was on Project Constitution's page this morning. And if you haven't seen it, he also does really good content with Danks. A lot of their stuff has to deal with the FARA filings, the Show Faith by Works, the the Foreign Ministry of Israel, the Clock Tower X FARA filing to combat anti-Semitism, the mass data collection that TPUSA is engaged in with the Foreign Ministry of Israel, the surveillance that's happening at all their events and what they're doing with that data and what their plans are to do with that data. So that's what Project Constitution and Danks have really been investigating and going into. And so if you haven't seen any of their stuff, you should go watch some of it because that's where I've gotten a lot of my information regarding how a lot of the improprieties, what was going on inside TPUSA. But okay, so this is in 2019, and I did my research. They got engaged in December 2019. This is happening in December. I don't know what part of December, but it happened in December. And yeah, you'll hear it, and then I'll tell you about it. But that's when this is happening, December 2019, either right before or right after they got engaged. And that is important because of something she says and how she says it.
You for the
Oh, man. Wait, what? Did they pull it down? Are you guys watching that? No, we're still here. Did you guys see that? Did they just pull this down midstream? Like they did on Barron's? with that Rob McCoy video? Hold on. No way. Let me pull this up. Okay, it was. Hold on, guys. Give me a second to find this. What the heck? Let me go to my history. Where is it? Why isn't it pulling up? Wait, let me hit refresh. That is so crazy. As I'm playing it, it disappears. Let me hit refresh. Let's see. Video unavailable. What? You guys, they took it down. That's insane. Oh, man, I wish I would have downloaded it before that happened. Oh, my God. That's crazy. Yeah. All right. Well, I was gonna use that. Holy smokes. Let's see. I need to make my thing bigger. All right. Well, that is the gist of everything I wanted to cover. I can't believe they took it down. Yeah. All right. It's kind of messing with my head. This is 2 times in one day. This time it wasn't like a technical issue. They literally took it off of YouTube, which is insane. But let me see how we're doing on the live stream. 143, looking good. Hey, I wanted to ask you guys, was anybody here for the live stream that I did this afternoon? You could do thumbs up in the chat or thumbs down if you weren't. I just was going to apologize to everyone about that technical issue. I ended up just taking the video down because I edited it, but it didn't flow good because there was 11 minutes in the middle. The meat of it was missing because a technical issue. My browser, my internet connection, which is, I have high speed, I don't know why it would have done that, but I tried to fix it. It didn't do good. The video didn't do good. So it kind of bummed me out. And I'm still, I don't know if I told you guys, let me see if I can share where we're at. Yeah, I'll share this. Let me go here. So I appreciate all of you so much. I can't even say it enough. And the emails that I get from you guys, the comments that I read from you guys, it literally, it makes me so happy and humbled to be able to do this. But we're at 1,536 subscribers, and we did get approved for monetization, which means we'll be able to do supers. We're going to be able to do memberships, and but it takes, I don't know. So I finished the application, everything, but it's in process. It takes 2 to 3 weeks for them to make a decision. However, I have kind of hit like a plateau. Like this channel was on an epic rise very quickly. How many we went to, it was like doubled and tripled and quadrupled the amount of subscribers in a very, very short period of time, which is just so amazing, but it's kind of plateaued. And that's why I was so concerned about today's video having that issue, because any new potential subscribers that click on the video and watch it, they're going to be like, this guy sucks. This video sucks. And then, I would lose a potential new, follower, a potential new person in our community. And it just kind of really bummed me out, and it messed with me all day. And that's also why this live stream is so much later is, it just it affected me. I really care about being able to do this and wanting to do this full time. And so all of my time and energy outside of, my family time and with my kids and my work, I'm trying my best to do really good content. And that kind of really messed. It was a hiccup, and I tried to do it right and edit it and everything, but it didn't do it. So I just pulled it down. And I also, if you guys go look in the video or the lives on the homepage, I pulled down older content that like didn't do really good. I really don't want people to like see some of my earlier content wasn't that great. I was still learning like so much. I've had to teach myself all of this stuff. I'm not really technical. I'm having to become more technical. But anyway, let's see. I also wanted to open up. I really wanted to engage with you guys even more than I normally do. And devote more and more time, because it's only a matter of time when we're going to be able to do super chats and everything else that we get to do as you become monetized. And yeah, so I wanted to ask you guys, what are some things you guys are wanting? I can definitely tell my videos that I do on Erica Kirk and everything on TPUSA does great. You know, I don't know that even though I did do a video on Dan today, it had a lot to do about the corruption in the government and everything that's going on and the lies. But I don't know if you guys actually would have even been interested in that. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do content that none of my main base and followers in the community here are interested in. What are some things you guys are really, really interested in? Anything you want me to investigate and to look into and do videos on? I'd love for you guys to put that in this chat. I could have it. And then I could go to work right away on the things that you guys really care about. The Einstein files. Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, today's, maybe I'll redo the video that I did this afternoon. And you guys, what's really cool, like the content creator version of the YouTube channel can tell me all sorts of stuff about my community, like age group demographics and what time people that subscribe to my channel are typically on YouTube. And it's like in the middle of the day and then it's at night. And so I really want to gear my lives and my content to meet you guys where you are at. Yes, the Nephilim, etc. You guys, believe it or not, most of the things I bet you guys are very interested in, I've always been interested in. And I'm like very interested in a version of history that they choose to ignore and don't tell us, right? Did anyone go and watch the Babylon Rising documentary that Barron put in his comment section regarding the Epic of Gilgamesh, Gilgamesh's tomb, Nimrod, Stargates, portals, reincarnation, like the key to everlasting life, being able to cheat death, the Nephilim. I've watched it. It was very informative. Have any of you guys seen that documentary that both Candace referenced and Barron did? Just got here, Matt. So if I comment something way behind your show, my bad. Oh, it's okay, Gregory. And then we have, let me see. I don't want to mispronounce some of your guys' names. So it's Mara Nunn. Wait. No, Mara O'Neill. That's how bad I am at this. How funny. Is EK gonna live on a military base with the rest of this criminal administration? That's funny. Maybe. I hope she has a special place behind bars. Me too. No, nothing will stop them and nobody cares. I mean, we care. 100% we care. We can only grow our own food and help each other. Nothing else we can do. Yep. Let's see. Oh, some of the comments you were saying is, yeah, when they pulled that video, I can't believe they pulled that video either. That's insane. They delete my pictures and videos I upload all the time. Half of the time, my content won't even load. Oh, no way. Unbelievable. What the interview will look for it. Oh, what's the interview? Oh my gosh, I had to pull it off of Project Constitution's page. It's no longer there because I couldn't find the original one. But I mean, was like a 15, 20-minute podcast style interview. I mean, she refers to Charlie as her boyfriend in the video, even though it was filmed in the month they got engaged, but it could have happened right before they got engaged. So that could be nothing. But she hints to a lot of things that foreshadow what's happening right now, like her working for TPUSA, Charlie not being there. And I don't have it all memorized, so I won't do it justice trying to explain it. What I can say is I will try over the next few days to find a version of it that's still out there. I don't know if it got deleted off of Project Constitute. Oh, you know what maybe happened? Well, no, you're allowed to pull stuff from other people's YouTube videos. It said it was pulled because of copyright. That's what that prompt said. Okay, video unavailable. This video is no longer available due to a copyright claim by Polly Payne. Oh, well, let's look up. Let me go to Polly Payne's page herself. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let me see if I can share this tab so you guys can see what I'm doing while I'm doing it. Let's go here. Let's go to Polly Payne. No. Let's see, Polly Payne podcast. No. Okay, that's interesting. Is that really even the person's name? That's crazy. Okay. Yeah, it says Polly Payne. All right, whatever. It's saying that she's not on YouTube. Maybe her content is on a different platform. I don't know. But let's see. So let me scroll down to the bottom. And I'm becoming more and more concerned about saying certain words out loud because it sounds like from a number of large, big content creators are all saying the same thing, that the videos that they do where they say certain words or talk about certain topics go to the black hole of the internet or YouTube. And so I see what you guys have put up here as things you're interested in. And I'm actually interested in every single thing you guys wrote. Okay. And so I'm not going to say it out loud, but perfect. I'm going to start creating content with those things that you've mentioned. Okay. Erica's mom was working with EMPs. Yep, she was. And Erika did that video for the government talking about EMPs. Was there a break in electrical signals on the day Charlie was shot? Was there? Are you saying there was, or are you asking a question? They used this technology in Venezuela. Yeah, I know they did, actually. And there's a very good, Jesse on Fire did an outstanding video on the possible real reason why they went into Venezuela and took Maduro. And it had nothing to do with cartels and drugs and smuggling or anything like that. It had to do with the illegal ballot casting technology, the machines that people vote on, and how it's been rigged for a long time. And Maduro actually filmed a video, but the only thing is here, like anytime someone's speaking in another language and we're reading subtitles, we have to trust that whoever did that translation is being honest. I don't speak another language. And so, I mean, how do I even know that is what they're saying? I'm reading, the translation, the captions at the bottom. But anyways, the video says that if anything were to happen to him, and this was, I guess, just right before it all happened, he had like a dead man switch regarding how our whole electoral system is rigged and has been rigged for a long time. Yeah, and so there's a lot of speculation and accusations out there as to why Maduro was actually taken, and that, yeah. And I never thought I thought it had more to do with like the oil and the rare earth minerals that are in Venezuela, because obviously the majority of the illegal substances that come into the United States, they're not coming from Venezuela. They're coming through Mexico. They're coming from other countries in Southern and Central America. Venezuela is where a lot of the money goes back to, but that's not what they said they were going to Venezuela for. But yeah, so I mean, there's a lot in that story that we're not being told. Yeah, I miss Charlie too. Trying to see it, not shown in Australia. There's an AI version. I'm going to watch this. Oh, the video. Mara O'Neill, are you talking about the video that I just was talking to you about? You found a version in Australia? Yeah, they don't want us to know the truth, and the truth is wild. Yeah, it is. Oh, Maran or Marin. I don't want to mispronounce it. I love reading your comments, by the way. It's really cool to see there's quite a number of you guys that are really engaged and are very consistent. And that's cool to see that there's like a base of consistent community members. And I just hope that continues to grow and that the passive viewers slowly decreases and the consistent ones start to increase would be really cool. Here we go. We got, hello, Matt, new here, came in from Barron saying to check you out. Got to support a brother from the grand jury. Wishing you the best. You're doing great. Wait, what? Came in from Barron saying to check you out? Barron did? He said something about me? I didn't get to finish his episode, but I'm new here and I will like and subscribe after I watch it if I like it. Okay, Tim Brown. Sounds good. Sounds good. Hopefully I win your vote, man. Curious about the Butch Hibbs, Jack Hibbs, brother. Yeah. Well, I used to go to Jack Hibbs Church when I lived out in California. I was there for many years. And I actually have some pretty key firsthand experience, insight, and knowledge of things that I'm working on, substantiating more so of like how things continued after I left. But yeah, Butch Hibbs, the guy with the beard and like the outline of the road mic in his shirt. Okay, definitely can look more into that. It seems to me that that's kind of been, I don't know, like they put a pin in it. A lot of people were looking into him and bringing him up, and then it kind of has dwindled. But let's see. Of course, Jesse, about 2020 election. Yeah, when there's evidence of 2024 fraud. Yep. Talk about bias. Yeah, Seahawks for the Super Bowl. Okay. Maduro, yeah, is a dealer. You're in Australia too, Quinn. Okay, and you're in Canada. Cool. Awesome. Would you guys, I don't want to ever talk about myself unless that's something you guys are actually interested in. Washington State here, USA. Oh, I'm in Idaho. I'm in North Idaho, actually. So what part of Washington State? Ban Jaloon. Okay, I'd like to hear more in California and Maui fires, totally a land grab. Yeah. And like the floods that happened in Texas, all of these like natural disaster things that have increased over the years and become more severe without warning. And that afterwards, none of the people get their homes rebuilt and get to move back to those areas. 100% land grabs for sure. Like no doubt. Mystic Gypsy. What part of SoCal did you grow up in? I grew up in Oceanside, Vista, Carlsbad. And then I was stationed at Camp Pendleton for 6 years. So that's where I'm originally from. How did you choose the channel's name? Oh, that's a good question, Quinn. So I had a couple different ideas. And I used ChatGPT to like refine my thoughts on what I really want the channel to be about. But I want it to be about, like real investigation into the things that like mainstream news outlets and media doesn't cover, hidden truths. Another potential name was going to be the adversarial record. But I stuck with, oh, my wife's from Fresno. High IQ lady law lover. My wife was born in Fresno. Oh, Olympia. You're in Olympia. That's great. Yeah. Hey, neighbor. Good reporting here. Cool. Yeah, I'm in North Idaho area. But So I chose the name by like researching different concepts about transparency, truth, and the black line is. Have any of you guys read the channel's description? And I mean, that summarizes it like perfectly. And I don't even have it memorized. I wrote that. And that is kind of how I landed on the black line brief. Oh, what I can do is I can pull up this real quick. Let me pull this up. Don't go anywhere, guys. I'm not leaving, but I'm going to pull this up where it says it. 1 second. And of course, my contacts are starting to fade. Okay, here we go. So, okay, the black line brief, right? Okay, this is our core symbol. The black line is the boundary, the point where things stop being fuzzy, propagandized, emotional, or narrative driven and become clear, documented, and undeniable. It implies crossing from noise into truth. In legal, military, intelligence, and investigative contexts, a black line represents a threshold, a line of no return, a hard boundary backed by evidence. Once something crosses the black line, it's no longer speculation. It demands accountability. In short, you draw the line others refuse to draw. And obviously, brief, this is also important. A brief is a concise, evidence-based presentation built to inform decision makers, stripped of fluff, emotion, and spin. Legal briefs, intelligence briefs, and operational briefs all share one thing: facts first, receipts included, conclusions earned, not asserted. So no ranting and briefing the audience, right? And then put together, it is the full meaning is, here is where the facts cross the threshold. Here is the evidence. Here is the line they don't want crossed. Yeah. So that's kind of the meaning and the concept and how I chose it. Let's see how much on my contacts are getting stuck. Very cool. Okay, grew up in the Central Valley, tiny town, Orange Cove. Okay, cool. But live in Oklahoma. There's a lot of, I was born in Tulsa. Oklahoma. But I grew up in California. But what part of Oklahoma? And if you're not comfortable, you don't have to say. But do you like Oklahoma? Santa Clarita. Oh, no way. Sagos by Matt. Yeah. I mean, I lived in Pasadena for a while. I lived in Rancho Cucamonga, San Dimas, Glendora, and then Pasadena. And my wife is from the Antelope Valley area, Lancaster, Palmdale. And so I'm very familiar with Santa Clarita area. My uncle lived in Oceanside. He worked at San Onofre. Man, so when I lived in Southern California, I grew up surfing, and we would go to San Onofre. It's the power plant that's no longer a power plant, but we would surf trestles and then on base and out in front of the San Onofre power plant all the time. Yeah, spent every Thanksgiving there. That's cool. We have the Ted Nalaqui. They will something from us. I don't know. Okay, learning is a 4-letter word. Yep. Learning. Okay. Oklahoma has a lot of good green bug, different subject. Okay. All righty. All right, let's see. I think that's the majority of everything I wanted and could cover tonight. Do you guys have anything else you want to put in the chat or ask or say before I sign off? Let's see. Calvin, Oklahoma. Okay, between Ada and McAllister, small town, less than 300 residents. So that's cool. Oh, technology and learning. Okay, those are things you're interested in. Okay, the water was warmer there. San Onofre, yeah, for obvious reasons. Well, they used the water. They used the water in the process of what they were doing there. And yeah, there's pipes that pump the water back out. But yeah, the water was warmer there. Let's see. Erica Kirk steers clear from this black line brief. Yeah, I hope so. Okay, I grew up in Santa Clarita, Newhall, now live in Vista North, San Diego. I'm from Vista. I went to Vista High School. Jack Smart. Yeah. Okay, good night, y'all. Yeah. Good night. All right. Well, I'm going to be signing off. Thank you guys so much. Oh, wait, before I do, everyone, please hit the like, hit the subscribe. Please share the channel, click the notifications. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.